Team Canada has a major decision to make as many young budding stars are sending shockwaves through the hockey community, making their case on why they should be on this Olympic team this year. In this video, we're going to talk about the top 3 young players that should be on this Canada team in Milan, so you're not going to want to miss this episode of Hat Trick HQ. And if you're new to the channel, we're going to be here keeping you up to date on everything in the NHL, Olympics, so make sure to go down below, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything. But with that said, we got to jump right into this because at the beginning of the season, even before the players hit the ice, the debate was on will Macklin, Celebrni, and Connor Bedard make this Olympic team in 2026. You know, obviously a lot of this team this year going to the Olympics looks a lot different than what we've seen from a team going to previous Olympics for Canada, with a lot of young stars making their way onto this team. And with how Macklin, Celebrini, and how Connor Bedard have played so far this season, there's a lot of rumblings within the hockey community, especially among Team Canada fans and Canadian supporters, that these guys should make this team. And they're one of the top names in the analysts from TSN who has spoke out about this is Craig Button. This is what he had to say. He said, give Connor Bedard and Macklin a jersey, give them a nameplate, make them a part of Team Canada. He did also go on to say in this interview that Doug Armstrong has consistently said, get our attention and show us that you belong on this team. And, well, that's exactly what Connor Bedard and Macklin Celebrini have done. Not only done to this point, but they continue to do that night in and night out. And I definitely have to agree here with Craig Button. I think that what Connor Bedard and what Macklin Celebrini have done so far in their early careers. I mean, last year, Macklin Celebrini finishing the season a point per game. Bedard has really taken a jump this year, no doubt about that. And they definitely are showing that they come through in the clutch, especially Connor Bedard, who I would want to talk about early. He said, I would do anything to be on that team. So, he's competing hard, not just for the Blackhawks, but he wants to secure himself on this Team Canada. I mean, everybody does. I mean, everybody wants to represent their country at the Olympics, especially, guys like Bedard and Celebrini who have represented Team Canada at the World Junior level. They want to make that jump to join the senior team going to the Olympics this year. And I think Bedard is a guy who has definitely shown that. I mean, if we take a look at how he's started the season, he's been red hot, 29 points through 19 games this season, 16 assists for 13 goals, averaging over 21 minutes of ice. The 20-year-old is really putting up some terrific numbers this season, and it's not just, the stats on the paper. Obviously, they jump out at you, but this guy had a hat trick just past week. He's also scored many overtime winners for this team this year, showing he can get it done in the clutch time, and I think that's what Doug Armstrong and Team Canada are looking for here is, we need players that can get it done in crunch time. And you see with Bedard and Macklin, who we're going to talk about in a little bit, they are getting it done when it comes to the clutch. And that's the type of players you need. All these players who go to play at the Olympics are going to bleed red. They're going to go out there and try to do anything in their power to beat, the U.S. team, the Sweden team, the Finland team, whoever they meet in the gold medal game, if they're lucky enough to get there, to bring gold back to Canada at this year's Olympics. So it's always great to have young players in your team. I mean, remember when Sidney Crosby first made his debut in the Olympics, he was a really big key part to that team. So you want to have these young guys who have, they want to get on this team. They're going to be on this team for years to come at the Olympics, so you want to get them on there early because that's when they're going to be the hungriest to go out there and win a gold medal. And Wayne Gretzky, also the great one, talking about Connor Bedard, saying he's playing his way onto Team Canada. So obviously the great one thinks Bedard belongs on this team. So if you had the greatest player of all time saying that about you, he's probably going to make this team at the end of the day. And all things Chicago Sports says here on Twitter, it would be a disservice to the promotion, marketing, and competitive integrity of ice hockey if they did not include both Connor Bedard and Macklin Celebrini on Team Canada. It's not either or anymore. He says it's both at this point, and I definitely agree with that because we're going to switch gears to Macklin Celebrini here, who has had a terrific start this year. 20 games, 30 points. Both players well over a point per game at this point. Macklin celebrating with 13 goals, 17 assists. Basically the same stat line, except Macklin has 1 assist on Connor Bedard. And, you see there, 90 games so far in his career. He's over a point per game, 93 points. He's also a +4 on the season. And the San Jose Sharks have indeed been a wagon to start this year. And I think Macklin Celebrini he was a lot overlooked towards the end of last season, in my opinion, but I think he's really put the league on notice this year and really showed, how good of a leader he is going to be for the Sharks team going forward. I mean, even his last 9 games, he has 2 hat tricks within that span. He also has multiple overtime winners. Like I said, he has that clutch gene like Bedard it has, and these are why you need these young guys on your team, is because when it comes to the Olympics, you're going to need 2 young players that are going to be in this bottom 6 or whatever it is on the third line. You pair them up together. You have Celebrini and Bedard on the same line. These guys are going to be magic. They're both terrific playmakers. They can both put it in the back of the net. So I think it would be perfect to see these guys on a line together. And looking at from BR Open Ice Bleacher Report, they have their first, kind of look at what they think the Team Canada will look like with Bedard and Celebrini on it. And you see this third line, you see Macklin Celebrini paired up with Nick Suzuki and Mitch Marner, which I think is terrific. And all these players you see highlighted in yellow here are players that didn't make the Four Nations last year. Then on this fourth line, you have Connor Bedard with Braden Point and Mark Scheifele. I do think personally you put Celebrini at center somewhere in this mix, and you put Bedard on his wing and have the 2 young guys on the same line. And you see when we move down to the defense, obviously Cale Makar, this guy's going to make the team. Thomas Harley has had a great start to the year for Dallas. Drew Doughty, Noah Dobson, a guy who's been terrific for Montreal this season. And then you see the goaltending where it makes a difference. We see Darcy Kemper and Logan Thompson, both their names thrown out there. I definitely think that this is a very well-constructed roster for Bleacher Report, at least early on. Obviously, Mark Stone is on this list. Will he make the team? Will he, be healthy that time? We don't know at this point. I do think he will. I think Mark Stone's going to want to get back for the Olympics. Then obviously you have McDavid, Reinhardt, all the guys who really performed at the Four Nations last year with Marchand, Crosby, McKinnon, obviously Seth Jones as well, a guy who made the Team Canada for the first time last year at the Four Nations, which is great to see, a great story for him. But looking at this early roster for Canada, obviously the roster for Canada is always going to be stacked because of how much talent there is across the nation. So it is on paper they look like a great team. I mean, if we had the U.S. one up here, they would look like a great team as well. Same with Sweden. They have a lot of great talent. Finland as well, I think, a very underrated nation as well. So I think this is really going to be a competitive tournament, and I think you need young guys on this team to be competitive. You can't just fill it up with vets, because you do need some young guys with hunger that are going to want to go out there when they touch the ice for their shift. They're going to give it their all. They're going to make whatever they can happen, and we're going to be on bigger ice as well, right? So if you have a lot of these playmakers, guys that can pull off insane dangles like Bedard and Celebrini, it's only going to help drive the play up the ice as well. But there's another young guy who is having a great start to the year, and that is Matthew Schaefer. In his rookie season, he has entered the Olympic drug testing protocol. As I'm recording this video today, he has entered this, which basically means he's on the radar. He's in the fight for a spot in Milan. So this is great to see. I mean, Matthew Schaefer, not a lot of people knew what to expect when we started the season, because obviously he went down with injury last year while he was in the juniors, and gets drafted first overall to the Islanders. The kid has 15 points through 20 games to start the season, so almost a point per game from a defenseman. He has looked terrific both ends of the ice, offensively and defensively. So it would be interesting to see if we could see him compete for a spot here in Milan. I mean, looking at the defense yet again, he's a guy who could take a spot from maybe a Josh Morrissey or a Travis Sanheim. I definitely think him and Sanheim are going to be competitive. It's either going to be one or the other who gets in here in Milan. So I think I'd love to see Matthew Schaefer there. I'm all for giving the young guys a shot. Obviously, you want your veterans in there as well, but you do need a mix of established, veterans in this league and a mix of young guys who just want to go out there and get it done for their country. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. what are your mock Team Canada projections like for the Olympics in Milan? Do you have Celebrini and Bedard on there? Is there anybody on this list that you think should be on there? Let me know down below in the comment section. And if you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we're going to be here keeping you up to date on the latest news around the league, around the Olympics, everything in store here. So you're going to want to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. But as always, I've been your host, Casey. We'll catch you in the next one.